Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would film a what to expect in your first year at uni, and I've already pre-filmed a video which should be up by now, which is what to expect when you go to uni, but that was more of an advice video about what to expect for the first specifically week or two when you arrive, what to bring, freshers, halls, what you can expect before you go. And this is going to be an advice video and just kind of an experience video as well, telling you about the actual whole first year. So if you're interested in what to expect for your first year of uni, please keep watching. So I've broken this video down into what to expect for your first official couple weeks, your flatmates, course mates and relationships, in general just living in halls. Then I've also broken it down into your workload, what actual like your first year of uni and the course and studying is like, and then I'm going to finish it off with some overall advice. Again, I'm looking down because of course I made notes. Right, let's get into the first official few weeks of uni. So I'm just going to put this out there, you will experience homesickness. Unless you're used to being away from parents, used to being away from home, you will experience homesickness. I thought I was the only one until I started talking to my flatmates, and I was surprised how early on you do experience homesickness. I thought the novelty of being away, like wanting to move out, be on your own, independent, would last for a couple weeks, and quite honestly I think it wore off after the 4th day, because you're doing things that quite honestly probably your mum, dad, grandma, whoever you live with has done for you. You're having to do all the cooking, the cleaning. Even though you do have a cleaner in halls, they're not going to go around and tidy your shit away like your mum would do. You have to do everything yourself. People who have never cooked before, you are going to be in for a shock, because you cannot just live off the alcohol and pasta diet. You think you can and live off that for as long as you want, but be expected for a weight gain. I was surprised by how many people had started freshers and they were like a size 8, size 10. A couple weeks in, they gained a couple pounds, couple dress sizes, because your mum's not going to be cooking you dinner and making sure you've got your greens in, and it's probably the first time that you're like, mum's not here, she can't tell me what to do, what to eat. I am going to live off pasta, 1 because I want to, and 2 because I don't know what else to cook. So that's what I would say, just be wary. You can live off the alcohol and pasta diet and McDonald's after a night out for as long as you want, but be expected for the weight gain. One thing I would say about what you will experience after the first official couple weeks, like after freshers, is the freshers flu. It goes on for about a month, and at first you think, got a bit of a cough, got a bit of a cold. It's fine if just you've got it, but when your whole lecture theatre has it, it's kind of funny actually, but it's also really hard to listen to your lecturer, and if you try and listen back to your lecture recordings, all you can hear is as soon as one person everyone else is like and then once one person starts, everybody starts coughing. So be expected for freshers flu. It doesn't just last a week, it is bad, and it will last for a couple of weeks. So now moving on to your flatmates, course friends, relationships, and overall what it's like living in halls. So one thing I would say is, from my experience, it's almost like frowned upon to come to uni when you're in a relationship. I remember when we were sitting around it, when we were in freshers and the reps come to your blocks, they try and get everybody out and to mingle, is they go around and say, okay, who's in a relationship? Partly probably because they're just trying to get everyone to talk, but also they're probably sussing out, is he single, is she single, because I'm probably going to get with them tonight. And when it got to me and I was like, oh no, I'm in a relationship, they were like, what a bad time to get into a relationship. Like, sorry, I didn't plan it. Like, we'd already been together for a year before I went to uni, and believe it or not, everyone goes to uni to get with people. Like, I actually went for an education. Shock. So yeah, I've experienced a little bit of like, oh, you've got a boyfriend, not for long. But one thing I would say is you will be surprised how many people come to uni with a boyfriend or girlfriend. You will not know they've got a boyfriend or girlfriend because of the amount of people that they're getting off with, adding on Snapchat, sleeping with, you best believe. We had a girl, I doubt she's watching, not in our flat, but the flat next door. Nobody knew she had a boyfriend because she was getting with guys and they were coming back to her flat and stopping over. Oh, a couple of weeks later, some random boy comes around. Like, who's that? It's her boyfriend. She has a boyfriend. She's had a boyfriend the whole time. Not for long, but yeah. I think people get overexcited, and I don't want to put people off. Like, it would have been hard for me before going to uni to listen to somebody saying like, your partner might cheat on you, because they get so excited at the concept of uni and new people that they're not going to be faithful. Because I knew like that wasn't me, that wasn't my experience, but I was shocked by how many people had gone to uni with a boyfriend or girlfriend that had been with for a couple of years, and just like that, as if don't give a shit. New people, fresh meat, let their hair down kind of thing. So yeah, people cheat, and it's interesting to watch, especially when you didn't know they had a boyfriend or girlfriend in the first place. And especially boys, actually, I experienced a couple of people during freshers coming up to me and, can I get your number? I'm like, no, sorry, got a boyfriend. But then wait for it, a week or two goes by, then home people start coming over, boyfriends, girlfriends come to visit, and you're like, oh, who's that girl in, what should we call him, Spencer's room? It's his girlfriend. Oh, of course it was. Yeah. One thing I will say as well is what I experienced from living in halls is you get to know people have very, very different levels of like living and levels of cleanliness. And I'm not the most tidy person. I can leave my dishes on the side for a couple of hours until the end of the day. Maybe if I'm feeling lazy till the next day, and then I'll clean it up. That doesn't bother me so much. It bothers other people, but wow, some people just live in a pigsty. Like, they will leave food on the side for weeks and not scrape their plate into the bin. Bins are another thing. Don't even get me started on bins. We lived on our flat, we were the top one. Put the pencil down. We lived in the top flat, so that meant when it came to bin day, nobody could be bothered to take the bins down, especially because no one could be bothered to ever empty the bins and put a fresh liner in there. So the rubbish has now built up, flowing over the bin. The normal rubbish is going in the recycling. The floor is just covered now in just crap. And yeah, no one wants to take the bin down, no one wants to empty the bins. I have a whole story time coming about living with pigs during freshers, not freshers, but during first year. People have different levels of cleanliness, different standards of living. Yeah, if you're a neat freak, just prepare yourself, because you can keep your like area and your room tidy and clean, but if you've got communal kitchens and lounges and communal areas, just be prepared that not everyone's going to have the same levels and expectations and living standards that you do. Especially, I'm going to say it, boys. I think boys are so used to their mums coming around tidying up after them that they have no idea how to clean a plate themselves, or hoover, or mop the floors, or put rubbish in the bin and not throw rubbish out the windows. So that's kind of what to expect when you're in your flat, is that everyone's got a different level of different standards of living. Now moving on to your course friends. So like I said in my previous video, I would really recommend in your first week to 2 week when you go to uni to try and go to your introductory, icebreakers, welcome weeks within your course, because you'll have an idea of who you're going to be seeing, spending time with, texting people before class so you can meet up and walk in together. Because I mean, it's not too bad for lectures because you are walking into a room full of hundreds of people and you're just gonna like slot in and just go in your seat. I mean, I still like to walk in with somebody, but when it comes to seminars and your first couple seminars, you kind of want to walk in with someone, or at least see a familiar face that you can go and sit with, because you'll have a lot of group-based activities in your first year, because they really want everyone to try and socialise and get on and get to know each other, because like I've said before, you are going to spend in the next 3-4 years with these people. So a lot of group activities, a lot of research projects. We had maybe 1 or 2 presentations, but I think that's just to kind of build your confidence up and prepare you for, basically first year is to prepare you for your second and third year. Not everything counts, and now we're moving on to workload and what to actually expect for uni and for your course. And I'm talking from my experience as a law student. You'll have a lot of coursework, mocks, research projects, and it's little things just to kind of build up your skills, to get you used to finding the information out for yourself. Because unlike A-levels and GCSEs, where you're kind of spoon-fed information, A-levels and GCSEs are memory tests. But when it comes to uni, you have to not only remember the information but apply your knowledge. A lot of the work is kind of based around trying to prepare you for your second and third year, getting you used to doing things on your own, researching, bringing up your own findings and how you found it, and just being confident with the presentations and that kind of thing. I think I remember in my first year, if you are studying law, we had EU law, which I hated. I hated it so much. I hated it with a passion, because I just don't really understand. I didn't really get it. I'm not hugely into politics, and I'm not hugely aware of European legislation, and there's just a lot of stuff that it just didn't really click. So I didn't really like European law. It was made out at the time like this big group presentation, and you don't choose either, not like you would in GCSE and A-levels where you can just work with your mates. You're put into groups, so you're going to be working with people who have different levels of, no other way to say it, but can they be asked, can't they be asked to put the work in. And we had 1 or 2 people in our group that could not be bothered. They did not show up at the library when we had practices. They wouldn't contribute any work, any information. We didn't even know if they were going to show up to the actual presentation on the day. I think 1 person was late, so you're looking at your clock thinking, got 10 minutes until this presentation and they're not here yet, so I guess I'm taking on his workload, or I'm going to have to say what he was meant to say. And they want you to try and read your presentation without a script. And back to A-levels and GCSEs, you were probably allowed to bring in like a little cue cards and that kind of thing, but they don't want you to do that at uni. They want you to kind of really know the information and just speak confidently, try and prepare you for work in life when you have interviews. So it's really frustrating when people don't pull their weight. And you will get to realise as well that not everybody's going to make it past first year. First year, in essence, is just a test to get you ready for the second and third year. So it's like one big test, and then the weaklings don't make it. Which sounds harsh, but it is true. Like, even though your exams don't count, and everyone will say, oh, first year don't count, which it doesn't, but you still have to pass. It's just getting you used to the course and just familiarising yourself with what you're actually going to be studying for the next couple of years. So the coursework, the mocks, at first it seems like it is kind of intense. In comparison to second and third year, it really isn't. First year is a breeze, but it's just, like I say, it's just preparing you for the next couple of years. In terms of what I can remember for your actual exams, I think for some subjects you do have 2 exams for that module. So I think we did 5 or 6 modules, topics. I want to say 5, and there was maybe 2 for some of them, and then coursework for some of them. It was just 100% coursework, which in my opinion, I would prefer to do exams over coursework. I thought back in the A-level days, I loved coursework all day long, because you can go back to it, keep working on it, keep improving. But you put so much hard work and effort into this one piece of work, and if it's not recognised or up to standards, if you're not thinking so outside the box to get the top grade, you just end up being disappointed. So I definitely prefer exams to coursework. I don't even know where I'd go with that point. See, I've gone off on a tangent again. Yeah, exams. You have maybe 5 or 6, depends on your course. Your course might be 100% coursework and you've chosen it. That's probably why you've chosen your course, because you don't really like exams. It is kind of structured like A-levels and GCSEs. We had one big massive like hall where we all sat in, and it is kind of daunting, but yeah. And I found for my exams, like in terms of my experience in my course as a business law student, most of my exams were about 3 hours long, and they were like that throughout the whole 3 years. Most of them were 3 hours, and it's tough. Like, it's not normal to sit there for 3 hours and continuously write and write and write and write, but time goes so quickly. And one piece of advice that I would give when it comes to your exams is practice. And I know it seems intense to try and do practice papers and sit there for 3 hours, but it's worth it. And that's how I found that I did well in my exams, is to practice like you were in your actual exam. Do like a mock paper online and sit there for the 3 hours and see how much you can write. Because I know some people that didn't practice for the whole 3 hours. They went into that exam hall thinking, oh, it's fine, and they probably did 2/3 of the paper because they just ran out of time. They kept on writing, they didn't keep to the 3 hours. So I would practice, and if you can, like, if your lecturers and seminar tutors set additional like essay titles and things to do it. Even though first year doesn't count, who cares about first year? It's really just to prepare you for the next couple years. Another thing I would say for the workload is, for us anyway at Nottingham Trent, we had so much help from our library. We had so many extra things available in our library about knowing how to properly reference your work, and then to put it at the end in a bibliography, and to really properly reference your work. And it's so much easier to get all of that learning and making the mistakes in your first year out of the way, because by the time it comes to the second and third year and you're still making mistakes to your referencing, your tutors aren't going to accept that then. They think you should have made those mistakes in first year, you should know better by now. And I realised in my third year that I'd been referencing wrong. I'd been using Word and like Harvard referencing. I'm sure that's fine for a lot of other courses, but if you know law and you're at uni now, or if you've done perhaps a law at A-level, you'll know that you have to do a whole different referencing style. And if you're not studying law, you probably can just skip this part and it's not applicable, but we have our Scholar referencing, and I thought the way I was referencing my work was a Scholar, and it wasn't. I was doing the Harvard one. So if I'd just gone to one of those library extra sessions, or you have like a personal tutor, or students can volunteer to do those kind of things, then you can make those mistakes in first year and not in third year, when they won't forgive it then, but they can forgive it in first year because it's your first time doing it. So that's all the things that I would say in terms of what to expect for your workload, for exams and all that kind of thing. Now moving on to just some overall advice for your first year of uni. My first piece of advice is to go out as much as you can. And I know that sounds contradictory, because I've been saying even though first year doesn't count, like, you still have to try. But I took first year way too seriously. I was in my room all the time, and that's one reason why I was glad to move out of halls, is because it doesn't feel like home. And once I moved into my house in second year, it felt more like home. And you'll have home and then home. So you've got home, which is your uni house or your flats, and then you have home when you get home at the weekends or non-term times. But yeah, I took first year way too seriously. I was in my room all the time. Anytime they'd recommend reading a chapter, I would read the whole chapter in a book and annotate it. I would be so nervous to go to a seminar if I hadn't read all the additional things that they tell you to do, which, looking back, you don't need to read everything that they suggest in your additional like things to look at for seminars. As long as you've done the work and flicked through, that's good enough. And loads of people don't even do the seminar work, they just show up. And I mean, sometimes it doesn't even seem to matter to the seminar tutor. They're just like, oh well, you can work with somebody else that has. So that's one thing I would say, is do not take first year too seriously. Go out as much as you can, because then you'll make your friends, you'll get to know other people. Don't get me wrong, I love my friends that I've made at uni, but I can count them all on one hand. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I didn't really have lots of different groups of friends. I just had 1 or 2 course friends, and then my flatmates really were my closest friends. I never joined a society or anything like that. I thought about it, but I was like, oh, I'm not going to be any good. Like, I like netball, but I'm not amazing, and people will judge me. And they don't just do like sports societies, they do loads of stuff like cocktail making societies or pole dancing, or there's like so many different societies. There's like a society for everyone. I'm sure there's even like a cheese society or a chocolate society for people that love food. But I would say definitely join those in first year, because then everybody's joining together, and I can imagine it's probably harder to join those societies in second and third year, because the cliques have already been formed and the friendships have already been made. I mean, I'm sure people have joined societies in second and third year and it's been fine, but I would say your first year is just your trial year, just to do everything and make the mistakes and make friends and just put yourself out there. So my advice is to go out as much as you can. Do not take first year too seriously, but you still have to pass first year, so don't take the piss and just not show up to anything, because there's people that I remember seeing in second year and they think, okay, second year I'm going to take it a bit more seriously now, and they show up to the seminars and you're like, I've never seen that person in my life. Who are you? Are you new? No, it's just because they couldn't bother to show up in first year. You think, who are you? Never seen you before. So yeah, go out, don't take it too seriously, do first year, and just mingle, put yourself out there and do as much as you can. So that's my video for what to expect on your first year at uni. I'm sure there's things that I've forgotten and missed out, like there's probably big things that I forgot to say, but that's all I can think of at the moment. And I did write a blog post when I was in my first year at uni, which I'm sure has like loads of stuff I haven't mentioned, like fresh things. I wrote it at the end of first year whilst I was still in halls, and I think it's called what first year of uni taught me, so I'll link that down below if you want like a fresh account of first year whilst I was in it. So that's everything for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.